Are there any non-timers in here? You're a non-timer.
I use the software.
Who uses software? Okay, you're legit. You can stay. I know you do. So Matt Avery and I are going to do a presentation. It's going to be mostly about RaceDay scoring and what we're doing on that. And then if you have an interest in RaceDay scoring, the 9:40 session, you might want to stay here in the larger room because Matt and James are going to be doing a more detailed deep dive into RaceDay scoring and stuff like that. All right, so RunSignUp has this kind of strategy, and we've had it for a long time, focusing on RaceDay, and especially on providing a bunch of tools for timers. And the business reason behind that is if we make life easy for a timer, then the timer will recommend us to 10 or 50 or 100 or 200 races that they time. And it winds up being a very efficient model for RunSignUp, and it's really been, quite frankly, one of the key reasons why RunSignUp has had success is the folks in this room and other timers who use and recommend us. It's fundamental to our core and stuff like that. I'll give you another kind of secret. So yesterday we talked a lot about CRM and all that kind of stuff, promotion and things like that. And the reality is that we'd be a lot further ahead in that kind of stuff, but we made some strategic decisions about allocating development resources. And this is why I asked if there were any non-timers in the room, because we like you guys the best. So we try to have a complete set of tools for your RaceDay needs that go under the general classification of RaceDayGo. They are loosely connected, meaning you don't have to use them all. You can use the pieces that you like, but they do all kind of go back into that RunSignUp CRM, single database. So it does provide a lot of value and ease of use as you're kind of putting all those things in together. There's two projects currently that we're spending a fair amount of time on. One is the check-in app. This is the native check-in app. The native check-in app is getting rewritten from the ground up. It's the one that runs, on a phone or a tablet in iOS and Android. The problem with that check-in app is that one of the underlying technology components that we use has instability in it. And so we had to rewrite it from scratch. We're rewriting it utilizing similar technology to what we're using for RaceDay scoring, and we're pleased with the results of it. RaceDay scoring is the other one, and that's what we're going to kind of be spending the rest of the time on. The other thing I'll say about all of our RaceDayGo offerings is that we are designing them to meet your needs. We don't think that you guys can do everything on RunSignUp. Like, you have to live in a diverse environment. So therefore, it's incumbent upon us to support all the different types of chip and hardware vendors. That's why we try to be friendly with all the chip and hardware vendors. It's why we have to stay open and allow our scoring software to work with all the different registration systems to make the system fundamentally open and flexible so you can post results to wherever you want to post results. We think we may have a great results platform, but the reality is that you might have something else that's either better or that for some reason you need to use. And we recognize that, and so the whole strategy of RaceDayGo is about that openness. And our business model is such that we're set up to make money on the margin of the processing fees. And so that allows us to afford to, and we're doing well enough, allows us to afford the development time to do this in this way and to sell these things at way below cost. So RaceDay scoring. So scoring is the most important tool that timers use. We recognize this very early on, and one of my first jobs at RunSignUp was to go make friends with Alan Jones and Roger Bradshaw and to see how we could make their lives better and easier and stuff like that. And so we integrated with both systems and developed pretty deep relationships with both Alan and Roger. And a few years ago, the depth of our relationship with Roger, he and I wanted to get married, basically. So, so he joined the RunSignUp team, and right from the very beginning, he was like, you know, race director is kind of old, and you know, it'd be nice to redo it. And one of the things he talked about is, you know, all the scars in his back about all the mistakes he made, you know, that he wishes he could rewind the clock and redo some things and things like that. And I kept promising him for the past 3 years that we really would redo it and develop a new product, and RaceDay Scoring is that product. Yesterday, when I presented this slide, I said 28 years old. Roger politely corrected me afterwards and said 29 years old. And I don't have a picture of Matt that young, but that'll do. Race Director is a RunSignUp product. It's an offering. We have an obligation to make sure there's a path forward for long term for timers to use that product and stuff like that. And it's a substantial market, you know, presence, obviously. Also turns out that I think that RaceDay Scoring, there's a tremendous need in the market for this right now. RunScore is also an old product. There's a potential that people may need to move or appreciate a product that has a new architecture that has a similar philosophy of openness about it. So we think that one of the design goals of RaceDay Scoring is this concept of Goldilocks. So, you know, kind of not too hot, not too cold. So Race Director, generally speaking, has been known as kind of the easy system to use because it has menus and you know, you point and click and stuff like that. RunScore has been known as being a powerful system because you can basically code it and make it do anything you want, either in the scoring logic or in the way that it presents the display. And what we're trying to do is to solve it right in the middle. So create something that's very easy to use, but still gives you all the escape valves to do all the custom stuff that you need. The other thing that's kind of interesting about the market need is that because Roger and Alan both did this as a side project, they both had full-time jobs, they sold their products way too cheap, and timers all got used to a business model where you pay literally hundreds of dollars a year for a software product that is extraordinarily complex. One of the cool things about having developed a product for 29 years is that there's approximately 29 man-years of effort into it, right? So there's a lot of functionality that's held in both of these products, and it's not easy to replicate. It's not just something that some coder can go down and whip something out really quickly. Talk to Brian Agee, and Brian has built a really great software scoring system, but he's been working on it for several years, and he is an extraordinarily bright software developer. It's not an easy thing to do. So there aren't that many business models that support actually doing that level of development, that level of expertise, and things like that. The chip systems can do it, but their business models tie it to their chip system. So we think that there's a need in the marketplace for an open system. And then just technology-wise, you know, we want it faster, simpler, open, something that works in the real world. The other part of this, kind of we have an obligation to create the next generation of Race Director. We also have an obligation, I think, to do this for the industry because of the people that we have. And it's kind of, there's two sides to that. One is I think the industry needs a next generation scoring platform. The other side is that we have a set of people here that have a unique set of skills and talents that desire to do that, right? And so we can plug those two things together, and it's kind of very interesting. I've talked about Roger already and about his desires to see a new system that's built for him to kind of make sure that we're doing it the right way and really meeting the needs of timers. Those of you that are Race Director customers, and RunScore customers would understand this too, or AG customers would understand this. the type of personal level of support and everything, and just knowledge that these guys have garnered over the years is just incredible. The second person on this team is Steven Sigwart. Steven's our CTO, and I've talked about him a number of times. He is extraordinarily talented as a software developer. You do not find people like Steven Sigwart very often. He built the core engine, the core scoring engine that makes this thing up. It's a masterpiece, much like the technical infrastructure of RunSignUp that you guys never see or understand or appreciate. You'll never see or understand or appreciate the scoring infrastructure that's here, but I will tell you that it's a thing of beauty and it's something that's unique, and there are very few people in the world that have that ability to bring concepts together into reality and put that out there. Matt Avery's the next guy on the team. So Matt was a timer up in Rochester. He came and started working at RunSignUp and really was our first weekend support person. And he was a race director user, and so he supported all the timers using all of the RunSignUp products for a couple of years. Other people are doing that now and helping them out, like Val and Kevin Lai over there. And Matt has been freed up to do more product management. So he's our lead product manager on RaceDay scoring. He brings from his talents are understanding customers' needs, living in the real world, being a timer, being a very pragmatic person. He has a computer science undergrad degree. I've said it before in front of him. He's a okay developer. He's not a Steven. He could not have developed a scoring engine, right? But he understands software development, so he understands what the talents of the team are. He understands, how this product is put together. He actually codes on it and stuff like that. It's a unique kind of combination set of talents there. James Harris is the creator of RaceJoy. I'm not sure if James is as good a developer as Steven, but he's damn close. To create RaceJoy, and that GPS tracking application is an amazing set of technology again. What's interesting about James and his experience at RaceJoy is he's been working with timers for the past 5 or 6 years. And he actually wrote, as part of RaceJoy, and he'll talk about it in the detailed session, about his work with integrating with chip systems. So he's been writing and integrating with chip systems for a number of years. So his level of knowledge on scoring, chip systems, interconnections, and stuff like that is just amazing. Michael Chisholm joined the RaceJoy team a couple of years ago. He's been working on RaceJoy. He's a young developer, very talented, and this gives him a great career path growth. And Ben joined us this summer. He's a summer intern. I think he really should stay when he graduates school. He could come back and work on this project some. But we'll talk to him later this summer about that. Ben, I see you out there. I'm coming for you, boy. RaceDay scoring. Here's a little bit more detailed features. It runs on PC or Mac. So people are used to thinking of RunSignUp, cloud. This is a native PC or Mac application. It runs. Think of it as a standalone little application. It runs on your PC. That means it's local. It doesn't require the internet. If you're out in the woods timing a trail race, you can time the trail race using RaceDay scoring. It's an open timing system support. So we support pretty much every chip system that's out there, as well as file systems, and we have some open architectures of how to do that. It's got a real-time architecture to it. So as soon as a read comes in, your scoring gets completely recalculated. It's all real-time. And that has some amazing benefits. If you're a race director user, things happen more as a batch sort of thing, or you had to push a button to make things score and stuff like that. It's really cool when you see the dashboard and Matt shows that stuff to you, just the real-time nature of what's happening, and and the way that leaderboards, you know, kind of flash and all that. It's got flexible scoring, so this is part of the power user sort of thing. So it has two different types of things kind of at a high level. One is this idea of computed fields. So you can obviously take kind of any field and define it as an input. So whatever, you know, Clydesdale Athena is coming in from your registration system. You can define those, but you can also make those fields computed fields. So I think I was the first person to use RaceDay scoring to actually time or to score a meet. It was a prediction run, actually last August. Steven had done the core engine. It was not pretty at that point in time, but the core engine was actually working. It was a prediction race, so people would predict their time, and then you would add or subtract that time and figure out the absolute value of that and figure how much off that was from their real time. And you would score it on that basis. That type of power, you can compute any set and use any set of logic and set of fields and computation methods to create a new field. Completely flexible. And customized reporting. It's got drag and drop columns, redefine things, you can break it into sections, you can create different sets of data so that, you know, one section is the Clydesdale top winners and the next section are your masters, you know, top three and stuff like that. It's already a very powerful reporting engine, and it's got an open API for participant syncing. So one of the things that is in the new version the new beta that just got released is syncing the participants with RunSignUp. We're going to be using the RunSignUp API as the standard for how you sync participants. So if you have another registration system and you don't want to do a CSV import, what they do is they just sync with the RunSignUp API, and everything syncs to RaceDay scoring. Open results posting and syncing. So file, CSV, GRU, PDF, HTML, RunSignUp results. It auto syncs with the cloud. Open shareable definitions. So underneath all of this, part of the architecture is the definition for literally everything is done in this little format called JSON. But what's cool about that is because it's all structured and because it's a well-defined set of definitions, both of what are the key file definitions as well as within each definition type, what's the structure of that, you can share this stuff. And so if I have something on my computer, I'll be able to share either pieces or all of my setup with you. Part of that is selfish because you're sitting out there and you're scoring something in the field and things are going crappy and you call RunSignUp for help. The first thing Kevin Lai is going to do is he's going to say, hey, send me your backup. And you're going to send it to him. He's going to be able to recreate the entire environment right on his side. And we're going to do some more clever stuff in terms of sharing and make it even easier in the future. And then the final piece is it's a modern computing architecture. So we're using kind of all the latest cool whiz-bang stuff, which is great. So it's been in beta since April, and we're continuously updating it. And the schedule is production release in December of 2018. And for Race Director users, there's a very smooth migration path from Race Director. And a lot of that stuff is actually already in place, and the guys will talk about it more and demo it more to you in a little bit here. So the other thing I want to talk about with you all is timer proposition, and then Matt's going to come up and get more into the product. So what we're trying to do is give you all a set of tools that are not just a set of tools to help you do your job, but I think you should think about the set of tools in terms of helping your business, right? So how could you utilize this set of tools to expand your business or to make your relationships with your customers more sticky? You know, we talked about it a lot last year, and I still believe the same stuff. We just haven't had time to talk about it. But I think adding a photographer, like an inexpensive photographer to your team and making that part of your offering is a killer idea. You know, RunSignUp Photos is free. It's automatically tied together with everything. It's tied together with our results. It's tied together with RaceJoy. We're going to do another, you know, kind of major push this winter on the next generation of our photo platform. It's really something I think that can help you stand apart. Second one is maps. Increasingly, you're going to see us focused on offering RaceJoy and map building via RaceJoy. And don't even think about the RaceJoy part of it, think about the map building part of RaceJoy. I think it's going to be increasingly important and strategic, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, along with runner tracking. And then race management and promotion. You guys are doing this, you know, 50 times a year. The poor race directors that left yesterday are only doing it, you know, once a year or twice a year. They just don't have a way to have a repeatable model. You guys do. You take some of these tools and you repeat them across your customers. And I know a lot of you actually do, you know, setup and website configuration, stuff like that. Some of you are charging $250 or whatever to do that setup and everything. But some of our promotional tools are such that you can offer true value to your customers. Because the thing that they're after is more participants. And if you can make that help happen for them, that's going to be valuable to them, and you can gain that. The second thing I want to talk about, business value proposition. So we made an update a number of months ago, actually now, that allows timers to set a fee that gets kind of transparently tacked onto the processing fee, right? The idea is that you're charging your customers $3 a head for your timing services or something like that, and they have to pay you, right? So if you got 1,000 people, they got to pay you $3,000. So what you can do is instead put some of that cost into the processing fee. And what happens is that, you know, say somebody comes in and signs up for a $50 race, it's a $3 processing fee normally from RunSignUp. Make that $3 processing fee an extra 50 cents, $3.50. 50 cents goes directly to the timer. We take care of all the math and all of the distribution of the funds. The timers, you guys can set, call it a chip tag price, right? So you can either use that to be competitive in your bidding propositions. So you can say, okay, instead of $3, I'm going to charge you $2.50, but we're going to put this 50-cent tag on, and the runners are going to pay that. And there is elasticity in that processing fee. Runners are not frightened away from signing up because of the processing fee. And if you look at, you know, like RunSignUp processing fees and pretty much every other one of our competitors, every one of them charges a per participant fee. So adding on a per participant fee is not an unusual thing. And, you know, most of our competitors are charging like $1 or $1.25 per participant. We're not charging anything per participant. So it's an easy way to kind of get the participant to pay something, put a little bit more money into your pocket, and, you know, given the first big bullet point, you can justify that because you've got some extra services that you could offer as part of that. Third thing is we're going to, in January, do a tour of the country, and we're going to have a certification for RaceDayGo. So it's going to be a one-day set of training, and the people that are certified, we will have a certified list of timers on our website and things like that. But more importantly, we're going to give you a set of tools for free. And the big tool that we're going to be giving you is we're going to be giving you RaceJoy for free. This is not going to happen until December when we come out with pricing. The idea is that we're going to keep selling RaceJoy at a fairly high price. If you are a certified timer and the race is using RunSignUp for registration, we have to get our income somehow. you will be able to offer RaceJoy for free to that race. Now the bargain that we're going to make is that you've got the responsibility to set up your map, though. Because that is, if you listen to James and Shelley's presentation yesterday, that's where the difficulty is. If the map's off, then things kind of go out of sync and stuff like that. You're going to carry that responsibility, and we'll be pointing back to you as the responsible party for building that map. The map building, as Shelley demonstrated yesterday, is really not that hard. Like I said, if you're doing this 20, 50, 100 times a year, you can get very good at it and add in the pizza shops and stuff like that, and really make these maps sparkle. And it's a common thing that every runner is asking for. It's a common thing that every race is asking for. It helps you be a better timer, helps your race director be a better race director manager and stuff like that. And we're gonna give it to you for free. So in December, when we release Race Day Scoring, our pricing is going to change. And we're going to be bundling all the RaceDayGo products together in a yearly subscription. And that includes Race Director and Race Day Scoring and all the rest of it. And what we're going to do is it's going to be priced approximately at what you're paying for Race Director, unless you're timing 100,000 plus participants a year. In which case it might be a little bit more, especially if those participants are not being registered on RunSignUp. If they're being registered on RunSignUp, your costs are going to continue to be pretty low. And you can have this mix of people that are on RunSignUp and not on RunSignUp. And you'll get a certain amount of runner tracking notifications, text messages, you'll get a certain amount of photos, you'll get a certain amount of these other things. So this is what's coming in terms of pricing. So if you take an example of somebody who times 100,000 participants, and none of them are on RunSignUp, the yearly cost is going to be $1,500. But if those 100,000 participants are on RunSignUp, the cost is going to be more like $1,000. Still fairly low if you look at it on a per participant type of basis. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Avery, and he's going to take it from here to talk about more.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I'm just going to go a little bit of a brief overview on RaceDay Scoring project, where it stands today, what we're looking at to do for December in production release. So the first thing I want to talk about today is the race director, what timers love about it, and what we wanted to keep in RaceDay Scoring that is great about race director. So obviously it's open, same thing, chip systems, registration providers, and results. We want to make sure that we kept that along in RaceDay Scoring. It's local. This is extremely important for timers, as everybody knows you're never going to be guaranteed internet access. We didn't want to make a product that required that. Flexible reporting. In Race Director, you're able to do any number of customizations, or a lot of customizations to your reports. So we wanted to be able to provide that as well. And we also wanted to be able to provide people who needed to write a custom report the ability to do that themselves as in addition. Reliable. Obviously, building reliable software is important, and we want to try and make sure that our product is just as reliable. Number 5 is probably the most important piece, and that's support. Everyone loves how great the support for Race Director is, and I know Roger really appreciated when he came on to RunSignUp, we were able to give him a little bit back by offering new support channels for his software that he never had before. So we're going to continue to do that. And then the final one is being able to handle multiple race type scenarios. So Race Director is great because it can handle triathlons, it can handle lap races, it can handle 5Ks, it can handle cross-country races, it can handle almost anything you can think of. You can probably support in Race Director. So we wanted to do that same thing, kind of carry the torch, if you will. So RaceDay Scoring, we wanted to carry that torch of Race Director, but improve on it. So we wanted to do a more native integration with chip and result data. So what that means is that the way the architecture is scoring, we needed to change. We needed to change it from a batch process, like Bob talked about, where I have to go and say, here's my file, I'm going to process an import, and then I'm going to process another import, and I'm going to process another import. So like what Bob had said, the way we architected this product is so that everything is streaming in real time. So as chip data is coming in, participant data can be coming in, and it can be syncing, and it can be changing. And if you change a participant in RaceDay scoring, it automatically gets updated in your online registration software and back and forth. And in the same way, if something changes in your result data, that comes into your participant data, it changes and gets reflected in reporting automatically. So we're really trying to make this new product work in real time. And it's a little bit of a struggle. I'll talk about that in a minute. There's some new paradigms to tackle when you're making a product that's completely automatic, everything's synced in the background. More customizable. This is important. Working with Roger, the biggest problem we have with Race Director is if that timer has some really strange thing they have to do. They gotta do some weird scoring scenario, and we can almost make it work, but just not quite. And that's usually when I have to say, hey Roger, do you think we have to do a custom report for this guy? And usually we end up having to do a custom report. So what we want to try and do is make it so that you can configure your own software if you'd like to. And in the back end, if you can't figure out exactly how to do it, we can always help with that. But what we wanted to do with this product was make it such that you can go in under the covers and tweak it. It's the biggest complaint from our power user timers of Race Directors. They can't go in and just switch one little thing. We have to write new code to deploy that to fix it. Want to make it more shareable. This is really important and is one of the kind of big things that we wanted to make, how we want to build this product. We want to make it so that each and every individual component can be pulled out from one race and plugged into another. So I have this computed field that I built that tells me like a predicted time. I want to be able to take that from one race and put it into another race. So we built the underlying architecture such that we're able to do that. Now, we don't have every single input and output, import and export built yet, but we've built the underlying architecture such that we can do that in the future. So there are some things that we have in the software today that are able to be exported and imported in the future that we just don't have that feature yet built out because we haven't gone into making the import and export. But it's able to do that because of the way we designed it originally. So this is very important from the get-go for us. Number 4, ease of use. So Race Director is a software that was built 29 years ago. And what that means is that it's kind of like sedimentary rock. It's just features on features on features on features. And sometimes the settings get put in places that don't quite make sense. And so Roger and I sometimes go through and move things around bit by bit. But with this new product, what we wanted to do is this holistic redesign of where settings should go and make it more logical to a timer as to, okay, this is the page that I'm sitting on when I expect to make a change that would be reflected in my reporting, so that should go in the report section, things like that. So it's a bit of a change of the interface, obviously, but we thought that it's a better idea to change the interface now to get people used to a better user interface for the future, so that when we add on new stuff, everything makes sense. And again, this real-time scoring and publishing is really important to us. Everything from syncing, result data, participant data, publishing, saving, can be done all automatically. And this last one is the idea of a client-server mode. So this is, we built it in a set of architecture called Node, which allows communication locally over a network. And so we'll be able to, in the future, have local communication between devices that are running this software or some client version of this software. So we can have a kiosk that displays leaderboards that's connected to your scoring computer. So the way you can network 2 computers over a wired or a Wi-Fi network locally, we're going to be able to do the same thing here with RaceDay scoring. And in the future, we'll have a bunch of different kind of associated apps that would run, and we'd be able to modify the RunSignUp apps like the check-in app and the registration app 2.2 in the RaceDay scoring database instead of the RunSignUp database, so that if you have no internet connection, you can communicate directly to your scoring computer instead of having to go up and back down. So that's the concept with our client-server architecture. Okay, so the last time I talked to you guys was, well, I may have talked to you individually just last week, but last time I talked to you here, this product was a baby. It was not great. It was very hard to demo even. So we've done a lot since then. Since the last beta update, these are the new features that we've added. So we have improved our import and export races function. This is the function that allows like me and Roger to pass around a backup file of a race to do troubleshooting. We have been expanding this a lot lately because we've been doing a lot of troubleshooting around making sure that the race director integration works very well so that I can take a race in race director, export it, and import it into RaceDay scoring and rescore it. That's really helpful to us internally to be able to test and benchmark this software so we can see that we're reporting accurately. But it's also good for you guys if you need to take one race you built in one machine, export it onto a USB drive, and put it into another machine in the same way. Another big thing that we improved on is in our report builder, we now have the ability to do a few more things, which I'm going to talk a little more in depth later. Report autosave function is huge, and we just recently added this. So now we're able to export to like a CSV, TXT, HTML, PDF, GRU, not quite GRU, very close, and API automatically. So every 5, 10, 15, 30 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes, it can be writing to any number of different files from any number of different reports. So you could have 10 reports all writing to these different files and uploading to your results. And it's all manageable from the dashboard. So you can pause and run individual autosave threads on your dashboard. So basically you can have all the things happening and be able to control them one by one. It's really cool stuff. Ben worked on that. Nice job. So the results API publishing was just done Friday. Steven kicked that one out pretty quick, and it's working great. So this is like V1 of RunSignUp results API. We have a few improvements we still want to make to it, but we wanted to be able to at least show off the ability to automatically publish reports from RaceDay scoring to the web quick and easy. PDF results is one of the report export types that we added, so now you can print to a PDF and print it out if you want to. We're still working on how we're going to handle the actual printing from the app directly. So I want to see first how it works with just a PDF, and then we'll tackle printing directly next. Column set templates and editable defaults. So we now have the ability to save different column sets. You might have some column set definition you use for your triathlons, but you want to show a different one for all your 5Ks. So you could have 2 defaults saved to your setup, and you can say, okay, I'm going to add a new report section of column type 5K, or run, or try, or bike, or whatever, and you can have those saved to select from. It's a little bit of an ease of use improvement. We have some more chip system standard file types that we added. We now support Pico file types, Triad file types, Contact file types, and RFID file types. Raw read search improvements. So we have a page where you can look at the raw reads as they came in, and whether or not a single read was used by RaceDay scoring or ignored, and it tells you the reason. We stole this feature from Race Director, and then it's really helpful for troubleshooting. We're just adding improvements incrementally to the search page so you can filter it down by which device did I get this read from, and filter on the bib number and things like that. Age group setup improvements. The age groups were one of the first things we built in the app, and it was a long time coming for the UI to be refreshed for that. Refreshed the UI, and we added some copying features between genders and events. So now it's a little bit easier to manage that. And then UI improvements app-wide. I spend a lot of time tweaking the UI and making sure that it looks a little bit nicer for you guys, and moving things around and making it look pretty. So, how to get it? If you guys don't already know, this is how you do it. One of the big things I forgot to mention too was that we added an installer process. So if you guys, any in the room here were here last year, one of the big problems was it's really difficult software to install. You had a big file, you had to download, and you had to find where the exe was inside of the file. And so now it's just a quick and easy installer. It installs it right onto your system with Mac and with Windows, and it just puts the app in there. It all is in the runs in the background, so it's really easy. You can get it from runsignup.com/timer, and from there you can go into Timer Dashboard and the integrations section and download it directly. So we always, again, recommend that people become a RunSignUp timer anyways. It makes it easier for races to add you. So if you don't already have a timer account, do it. It makes it easier for new races to see that you're a timer and add you. So in the future, this is going to be, this dashboard is going to be an area where we're also going to give some more statistics and features around race day scoring. So in future, we'll give like summary data of how many finishers came in from that scoring machine on your dashboard. So a little bit more summary of information there. Okay, so upcoming features. This is our big timeline for what we're going to do before our release in December. There's going to be more stuff that we do. We're not going to do 3 things and call it a day, but these are very big projects, and all the while we're going to be doing releases throughout. So basically, these are the focuses, but at the same time, we're going to continue to improve the product we already have. So then number 1 coming up soon is team scoring. And so James Harris is working on team scoring. He has a lot of knowledge around teams and how they work in real life, because he works with relay teams a ton with RaceDay. So he's got a depth of experience there, and myself and Roger included. So we're doing a whole lot around that. Relay teams, aggregate or standard teams like cross country or corporate teams. And we've got some really good ideas, and I'm super excited to show you guys that once it comes out, because I think a lot of you will be excited about that. Automations are something that we're going to be working on through September and October. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then client server in November is going to come out, and I talked briefly about that. That's where local machines can talk to each other in a client server relationship. So I'll describe this a little bit more here. So the team scoring, relay teams. What we're going to do with relay teams, we want to make sure that we handle any kind of option with chips. So a lot of times relays are scored with the same chip. A lot of times they have multiple chips. Another big thing I'll jump down to is this flexible integration. This is very important for us to get right. Basically, a lot of times races will set up just a single category called relay teams, but they actually want it to be scored like all male, all female, co-ed, whatever. So we're building an additional layer of that integration to say, all right, accept all of these people coming down this pipe as they are. So they could have already broken out like the co-eds and the all female and all male teams on their registration system. And so it's exactly how I want it. So I might be able to just pipe it in directly. But you may need to split it out in scoring software. So we're building a filtering system in here that's going to allow us to automatically sense, okay, here's my team, I look at it individually, I see it has all male members and they're all under the age of 40, so guess what, that's an all male, open relay. If I sense that there's a co-ed team and one of them is a female and the rest are males, okay, that's a co-ed team and they're all over the age of 40, so that's a master's co-ed team. So we're going to build out that filtering system on top of it so that you'll be able to have this flexible integration. Aggregate teams are those cross-country or corporate team types. So we're going to start with corporate teams, and then we're going to work on cross-country afterwards. Corporate teams are a lot easier. Cross-country comes with a little bit more configuration around it, but we are doing it. It may not be in our first release for teams, but we are definitely going to support that in the future. Automations, this is what I was talking about, where when you have real-time software, it brings new challenges into the development process, because with Race Director, if any of you guys use Race Director, you know that you import some spreadsheet of data and you're going to have like 5 different pop-ups and you have to answer the questions, right? So the problem with software that's running in real time is there's none of that process. All of that process just happens. You load up RaceDay scoring and your participants are just there. So how do I manage if I have some bad data? How do I manage those participants who don't have a bid number? How do I manage those participants who entered a date of birth that disagrees with their entered age? So what we're going to be doing is having a page that gives you automated alerts that tells you, like, hey, you've got 43 people in here, their date of birth that doesn't match their age. What do you want to do with them? Do I want to process them? Do I want to ignore them? Do I want to manually, one by one, fix them? That's the kind of thing we're going to be tackling with automated alerts. Well, automated actions are, I want to automatically apply some rule to some set of people. Okay, I have this location out here in the middle of the marathon course that I know no one else runs over except marathon runners. So if I sense that there's a half marathon runner running over that, I want to automatically change his event to the marathon. Things like that, we're building our utility around so that you can do these automated actions and have it happen in the background instead of it being a batch process like it is in Race Director, where I have a check mat in Race Director and I can go through and run a report and see, oh, these people don't belong, and I can change them. Or I can tell it to do it automatically. But in RaceDay scoring, everything's happening in real time, so we have to we have to make those rules in advance and have it run in the background. So this is going to be it's going to be a challenge, but I'm really excited about it. Especially to see it working will be really cool. This client server mode that I talked briefly about before, local network communication allows you to communicate with multiple devices on site without internet, right? That's the idea. So I can plug into a network switch, connect all my computers, and have a client machine that does participant entry, a scoring machine does its job, have another machine do reporting, another machine do a leaderboard that's connected to a big screen, things like that. So yeah, results kiosks, participant changes, things like leaderboards, live results, scrolling results. So we're going to build this architecture, and then we're going to start building out those applications on top of that architecture. Okay, so production, it's going to be December of 2018. Before that, we need your help. So we need timers to help us with troubleshooting the software. And I know you guys are super busy, but what we need is, if you guys have any time, try this out. And you're probably gonna break something, and we're gonna really want to find that bug. So just let us know if you can download it and try it out with your system, and let us know the problems you have. We're always going to have issues, and we want to find them before we put it into production. So we're running through as many processes on our end as we can, but sometimes there's something very strange about your specific computer setup that may be causing a problem that we can't recreate. So we'd love it if you guys give this a shot, try it out, download it. I think you'll love the software. It's really, really nice, really slick, and can produce reports pretty easily. But we definitely want you guys to help us out by doing some beta testing. So if you have any interest, contact me. I'm always available. You can download it today. It's free to use. There's a section where you enter your serial number, but you can just use it in demo mode, and then there's no restrictions. So just go ahead and use it in demo mode for now. The beta will always be free to use for now. And yeah, for more development progress, follow along with us at the RaceDay Scoring blog. That's racedayscoring.blog. And so we only have a few minutes left, and I was just going to quick go over what I'm going to cover in my next session down here. Just basically an overview of the software features and what we have. So this is the dashboard of the software. Basically, this is your spot where you'd spend most of your time during a race. It shows live streams of data that's crossing the any number of locations you have. So in this one, I have start and finish. So I have these reads. It's like a leaderboard cycling through the top 5 most recent finishers. It's nice just to be able to view that data as it's coming in real time to make sure that your chip system's still on. That's really, really, really nice to have there. So we're going to expand that little component to be our leaderboard functionality in the future, essentially. In the top right, you see all these numbers. You can see that I've processed 6,000 raw reads, and I've generated like 500 scored reads. And basically, that's just telling you what's going on in the background. And if you click those numbers, you can view those reads and dig into it a little bit further. At the bottom, this report autosave status section, it tells you all the threads that I have running. So I've got a PDF that's being written to my file system every 60 seconds. I can pause it, I can view the last time it's been run. So that's really, really handy. And if you have more of them, they just stack on top, and you can pause and play them individually. And a few other things on the left, like what's my running clock. I'm 49 minutes into this 5K. I'm about ready to pack up and head home. In the bottom left, we have our import and export functions. And yeah, so that's the dashboard. Participant sync options allow us to define or bring in question responses from registration data. So if there's additional fields in your registration data you need to use for scoring, you can do it here. Clydesdale Athena as a question is one good example. Participants view, this shows us where I can search for participants, import, change them, and export them. Streams are how I connect to devices in the field. So I could have streams set up for my IP code device type that's named start. I could have my MyLabs toolkit connection defined here. I could have a common CSV type that I use for some, I have an app on my phone, that I collect finish times on, let's say, and it outputs in some specific CSV type. I can write a stream specifically for that and then use it in my locations to collect reads and score it. So the locations are where I can choose what streams I'm picking from and combine them into scored reads, which is what we call like reads that were accepted into the system and are used. So you can have multiple streams pumping into each of the locations in a primary or backup functionality. So if you use the backup functionality, it only writes to the scored read if it doesn't have a primary read for that person. You can also view reads at each of these locations here and make a bunch of adjustments that will go through in my next session. Setting up scored events. This is important, and we built a layer beneath the event coming from registration so that we can combine multiple events from registration into a single scored event in scoring. Because a lot of times, as you know, the registration setup doesn't agree with what you actually wanted from them, and you have to combine them together to make your one scored 5K instead of like 5K youth pricing, 5K free t-shirt, 5K whatever. This is also where you define what locations are my start and finish for this event and the start times. Segments are how I define splits. You can have as many as you want in each race, and you can have cumulative distance as well as segment distance. Age groups. This is my age group setup, pretty straightforward. I can add individual, I can copy, I can insert, so on and so forth. Scoring is a little bit of an advanced utility right now. I can go in here, and this is where I can view and dig into my listings, which are like all of the different placements of my race. So here's all my 30 to 39 males. Here's everything else. So this is also where you can define computed fields and view them if you want to dig into more customizable reporting. And reporting is the final one. This is where you can build reports, export these reports to PDFs, CSVs, and so on, and save these start these auto-save threads where you can begin to build out your reporting process. So this is pretty powerful. We've got a lot to this. Do stick around if you are interested in checking out RaceDay scoring and going into a little bit further with me. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, so 9:40. So we got a 10-minute break, and then 9:40. If you want to learn more and see a full demo of RaceDay scoring, stay here. AG's up in Hans, Race Result Garden 2, and Run Score Franklin 2. All those sessions repeat at 11 a.m. So if you stick around here, you can still catch one of those sessions.